Coming up on this edition of Maximus Aviation's News Week in Review. In our top story, the FAA said they've been getting more complaints from Boeing workers, and that has caused them to start yet another investigation into quality assurance issues at Boeing. I'll have the details. Delta Airlines announced another big aircraft order this week. I'll tell you who the lucky manufacturer is and what type and how many planes Delta ordered. Well, it seems reports of the death of Airbus's Super Jumbo may have been greatly exaggerated, as Qantas announced this week that they will be recalling their fleet of A380s from their California desert vacation and put them back to work. There's some good news for Boeing this week, as India has cleared the way for the 737 MAX to get off the ground and back into the air where it belongs. And finally, I have some sad news about the end of an iconic airline that's been flying for over 75 years. But all hope may not be lost. I'll tell you why. All that and more is coming up next on this edition of Maximus Aviation's News Week in Review. Greetings everybody, your humble host Maximus here. Thanks for joining me for this edition of Maximus Aviation News Week in Review. If you're new to the channel, welcome. And please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It's always free. And now, the news. In our top story, the FAA said it will open a review of operations at Boeing after feedback from inspectors assigned to provide oversight for the government said many feel unable to share their concerns. The findings are reminiscent of the issues surrounding Boeing's 737 MAX program. In the wake of the MAX tragedies, Boeing and the FAA came under intense scrutiny from Congress as well as the public for their cozy relationship during the MAX's manufacturing process that some viewed as a major cause of the disastrous MAX program. Under an arrangement called Organization Designation Authorization, or ODA, the FAA's safety inspectors are employed by Boeing, but they are required to report directly to the FAA. However, according to an August 19th letter the FAA sent Boeing, it states that Boeing's company culture appears to hamper members of the Organization Designation Authorization Unit from communicating openly with the FAA. In an investigation into the ability to openly express concerns without fear of repercussions, the FAA said it found 35% of people questioned said the environment at Boeing does not support independence of the ODA unit. Some of the in-house inspectors cited interference with their work and said the structure created a conflict of interest, pointing to incidents of undue pressure and Boeing managers shopping for a cooperative inspector, according to the documents. While the initial survey only involved 32 workers, the FAA letters said the concerns require an objective review and further fact-finding. The FAA will conduct an anonymous, independent survey of all Boeing unit members to identify any remaining concerns. A Boeing spokesperson said the company has stressed to employees that the ODA unit members must be accorded the same respect and deference that is shown to the FAA. They said, "We take these matters with the utmost seriousness and are continuously working to improve the process we have in place to ensure the independence of the inspectors." Delta Airlines has ordered 30 additional Airbus A321neo aircraft to help meet the airline's future fleet requirements. The new order is in addition to the airline's existing order of 125 A321neos, bringing the outstanding orders from Delta to a total of 155 A321neos. Delta's A321neos will be powered by next-generation Pratt & Whitney PW1100G turbofan engines that bring significant efficiency gains over Delta's current, already efficient A321 aircraft. Equipped with total seating for 194 customers, with 20 in first class, 42 in Delta Comfort Plus, and 132 in the main cabin, Delta's A321neos will be deployed primarily across the airline's extensive domestic network, complementing Delta's current A321 fleet of more than 120 aircraft. Many of Delta's A321neos will be delivered from the Airbus U.S. manufacturing facility in Mobile, Alabama. The airline has taken delivery of 87 U.S. manufactured Airbus aircraft since 2016. As of the end of July, Delta's fleet of Airbus aircraft numbered 358, including 50 A220 aircraft, 240 A320 family members, 53 A330 wide-bodies, and 15 A350 XWB aircraft. Well, as countries around the world are struggling with the latest Delta variant of the pandemic, Qantas announced plans to restart international operations and return 10 Airbus A380s to service. Due to the effects of the pandemic, most carriers around the world shuttered all of their jumbo jets as international travel was deeply impacted. Among those grounded were 12 Qantas A330s, which have been basking in the California desert sunshine for the past year or so. No word if the A380s were able to get in any golf while on vacation. Additionally, Australia's strict travel restrictions also grounded Qantas freight operations for the majority of the pandemic. Out of Qantas's 12 A380s, 2 will be retired, but 5 will be returned to service in early 2022, and the rest are scheduled to follow soon after. The 5 returning aircraft will see service between Sydney and Los Angeles starting July 22nd and between Sydney and London, with Singapore as a transit stop starting in November of 2022. Qantas has tentatively scheduled December of this year as a starting point for the reintegration of international services pending vaccine rollouts in Australia. Well, Boeing got some more good news this week as the Indian government's regulator, the Directorate General of Civil Aviation, said the 737 MAX can fly again. The MAX, of course, was grounded worldwide in March of 2019 to December of 2020 in most countries. The U.S. reapproved the MAX for commercial flight in November of 2020, and Europe did so this February. The lifting of the ban in India means that SpiceJet can get its already delivered fleet of MAX jets back in the air. The DGCA approval could also pave the way for a sizable MAX order from Indian Airlines startup Akasa. Boeing said they continue to work with regulators and customers to return the airplane to service worldwide. The MAX has been recertified in about 175 out of 195 countries where it flies, and more than 30 airlines have reintroduced the MAX back into service. That pretty much leaves China as the last significant country investors are watching for MAX reapproval. China's regulators have tested the MAX recently, but no timeline for recertification is available. And finally, sadly, the era of Italy's Alitalia airline is coming to an end. Italy's largest airline plans to suspend operations on October 15th. No new flights can be booked for travel after that date. Passengers with tickets for flights on or after October 15th are being offered the option to move up their trips or request the full refund, the Bankrupt airline said. Alitalia got its start in 1946, just after the end of World War II. At its peak in the 1990s, more than 25 million passengers boarded its flights annually for destinations including Rome, Milan, New York, and beyond. It was also a favorite of actress and bombshell Sophia Loren's, who appeared in the airline's ads in the 1960s. But the Italian flag carrier has struggled for years despite counting another very important passenger amongst its frequent flyers, the Pope. 4 different popes have flown Alitalia over 57 years, visiting more than 171 countries. But the Vatican won't have to wait long after Pope Francis's last trip on Alitalia next month before finding a new airline. Italy plans to launch a new flag carrier called ITA on October 15th, and the airline is buying all of Alitalia's planes. It doesn't even plan to cover them with its own branding, so you won't notice much of a difference at the airport. It's unclear exactly what ITA's route map will look like, but Politico reported that ITA plans to fly between Italy and New York, as well as Boston, Miami, and Tokyo this year. Additional routes to Sao Paulo, Buenos Aires, and Los Angeles are on the agenda for 2022. Well, that'll wrap up another edition of Maximus Aviation's News Week in Review. But before we go, I need to give a shout out to subscriber Chris Escott, who generously bought 5 coffees in support of the channel on the Buy Me a Coffee app. Thank you so much, Chris, for your generosity, but thank you more for your kind words. And also Larry R. De La Brandeis. I hope I got that right. Thank you as well for your coffee purchase. And if you like the work we do here and would like to help support the channel, because believe it or not all of us YouTubers are rolling in dough but do love the work we do, you can support us through the Maximus merch links or the aforementioned Buy Me a Coffee app. Links in the description. But like I always say, the number one, best and always free way to support the channel is to simply hit that bright red subscribe button. And don't forget to like, share, and ring the bell. And as always, remember, leave the rubber on the runway and your troubles on the ground. And I will see you next time in the air. Yeah, this is Maximus.